Hi there. Welcome to Section 2, ArcGIS API for JavaScript Core. There are a handful of fundamental classes that are core to how the ArcGIS API for JavaScript is built. And getting familiar with these classes and core concepts will really benefit you as you work with the API. So in this section, we're going to take a look at Accessor, which is really a core class of the API, and you're going to find a lot of classes are built on top of it. And then we're going to take a look at collection, which is an enhanced implementation of a JavaScript array. And we're also going to look at promises and how they're used in the JavaScript API to handle asynchronous tasks. And then we're going to take a look at loadables, which is a pattern that is very useful for loading resources as they are needed. So first off, let's look at Accessor. In this video, we're going to take a look at how the accessor works, some of the consistent patterns, as well as autocasting works with the accessors in the API. So here we have a very simple application that we've used earlier, and it just displays a web map and various widgets on my page. And these widgets, I can open them up, close them, and so on. So the accessor can greatly simplify how you use the API, because instead of listening for events to happen and hoping that the event that you need is available, you can simply watch for property changes. What I mean by that is that maybe we're interested in when the center of my view changes. So as I start panning the map around, I have a new center, and I want to know when that happens. So I can call something like the view. And the view is an accessor, so it has a property called watch on it. And what you can do is you can do view.watch, let's say center, and when that center is updated, I'm just going to log out the new X and Y for the center when it's updated. Now as I pan my map around, you'll see that I'm getting the X and Y's printed out into my console. You also don't need to rely on set methods or get methods, for example, if I want to update the center myself. So, for example, I can just do view.center, and I have access to the center object here. And the center object has various properties on it. It's got an X and a Y, which is what I've been printing out. I can also update the center by assigning a new value to it, very simply. And I can just say maybe I want my center to be equal to a new pair of coordinates, -118 and 36. And again, it's going to go in, still my watcher here, so it's going to log out the new X and Y values. And it's going to also change my view to brand new location. And there's no method I had to call to be able to do that. However, if I want to set multiple properties on an accessor, I can still use the set method to do so. So maybe I want to change the basemap title on my map. So on the map, I have an object called basemap, and that basemap has a title. Right now it's called topographic. So maybe I want to work directly with the map, and I want to call the set method on the map, and I want to say basemap.title by passing a string, and then pass the new value I want for my title. So now I've got a new basemap.title laid out to the value that I assigned to it using the set method. That was very easy to do. I can also set multiple properties on an object by passing an object. So I could do something like view.set. I'm going to pass a brand new object in here. And maybe I want to set the center and the rotation for my view at the same time. So I've gone ahead and I set the center and rotation, although this has put me out in the middle of the ocean, so let's zoom out a little bit more. And you can see here that I've rotated my view and I've given it a brand new center all at the same time. And you can even tell by the north arrow here. So if I click the north arrow, it's going to go ahead and reset me there. So as we see here, it's still console.logging out the watcher I have for when the center changes on the view. How can I stop that? Again, please edit out when I refresh the page. When you watch for property changes, you are given what's called a watch handle. You can use this watch handle to stop watching for property changes with a remove method. So let me create a new handle, and that handle is going to be equal to view.watch center, and I'm just going to console.log some text here, and I'm going to say center change. Okay, fantastic. So now as I am panning my map around, you can see that it is increasing the number of times that I am logging out the center change text. Now to turn that off, I can just call remove on the watch handle that was given, and it's no longer console.logging out from my callback from when the watcher was occurring. I've removed that watcher on my property. Now let's assume I'm interested in when the stationary property of the view changes. So let's do this. Let's change this to stationary, handle a new property, and let's go ahead and console.log out this new value. Okay, so stationary is a Boolean value on the view. Stationary basically means if I'm interacting with the view, stationary is going to be false because it's not stationary. I'm interacting with it and moving it around. When I stop interacting with it, stationary is now true. Now this is kind of neat and this is pretty cool. I could do a few things with this. Maybe when the stationary value is false, I want to turn off the UI on my application. Maybe it's just to give a hint to the user that something's happening and I'm interacting with the map and I can't currently use the widgets because I'm interacting with the map for whatever reason. So let me go ahead and remove my handle. Make sure it's off. All right, fantastic. Okay, so I could watch for when that property of stationary changes. I could check if the new value is true or false, and then do something in my code to update my UI when it's true and update it when it's false. But there is a module in the API that I could actually use called WatchUtils. Now, WatchUtils has quite a few useful methods on them that I could use. Things like when false once, when true once, and many more. WatchUtils is incredibly useful. So first off, let me grab my UI. Now I just happen to know my UI container is in a DOM element with a class called Ezra UI. And I console log that out, and I could see that it is there on my page. So I want to do something with that. So let's say that I'm going to use WatchUtils when false property to watch the view, and that's my first argument. So what I'm going to be watching, the first argument, the property I'm going to be watching is the second argument, which is stationary, and then my callback function. And when it's false, I want to hide my UI. So let me make another similar one, but this one is almost identical. We're going to say, I'll call it handler true, and it's going to be when true. And when it's true, I want to display the UI again. Fantastic. So now, as I interact with my view, you can see that all my widgets are gone. And when I stop interacting, they're back. If I zoom in, they're gone. When it stops zooming in, they're back. And so on. That's incredibly useful. This and many more methods are provided by WatchUtils, which will help simplify your application development. All right, so let's quickly talk about autocasting with Accessors and JavaScript API. Autocasting can be very subtle in the API. You may not even know when it's happening. We've actually already seen this in this course so far. When creating a web map, we initialize it with an object with a portal item property. Now, whenever we do that, it will automatically cast whatever values you provide in the portal item property to a portal item class internally. This means you don't need to instantiate your own new portal item, and you also don't have to load the module yourself in your require or define method. Now you'll find autocasting throughout the ArcGIS API for JavaScript when you create layers, widgets, and more.